Josh McDaniels is praying right now. Oh, no.
Not in the red zone. Play action.
Oh, no.
Going for the end zone. Got him. Broncos lose. Davante Adams. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Davante Adams. Broncos lose. Wow.
Someone has to get fired after that. That is so embarrassing.
Wow. Wow. That is brutal. Terrible overtime goals. That's real. We should have. They're all.
We're right over.
Let's go do the postgame show. Broncos lose.
Oh my God.
We'll see who he's on. He's in the slot. He's in the slot.
It's on Simmons.
And they're playing his zone defense. Oh, he went right past Sertan. He went right past Sertan, Rachel.
And Simmons.
Sertan got beat.
Live, we've got D-Mac, Rachel V. Hill hanging out with you from Empower Field as the Broncos lose a stinger of one to the Raiders, 22-16. I can't believe what we witnessed on that last play from the Raiders. Derek Carr straight to Davante Adams, wide open. Pat Surtain and Justin Simmons both just getting beat on that play.
The video you saw to start with was we're down in the tunnel right outside of the field. They don't let us onto the field. So that was our reaction in overtime, looking up at a TV.
Yep.
We were shocked, as you could tell from our expressions, because while only scoring 16 points, of course, is terrible, the truth is, Rachel, they had the lead with less than 2 minutes to go. So you had a chance that your defense had to stop the Raiders' offense in that situation. And then let's just keep it real. You just got to stop them from scoring a touchdown on the first drive in overtime. To a certain degree, in overtime, it's an advantage to have your defense out on the field. You just got to stop them from scoring a touchdown. So, Rachel, this is insane. It's the Broncos' defense at the end of the day letting the team down twice.
Yeah.
And, the offense, is the offense. They do their
16 points, and that's what we get from them.
Thing, but let's keep this real. At some point, you need to make big plays as a unit, no matter what's been going on.
Yep.
And the Broncos' defense.
I think that's the first time we're saying that the Broncos defense has let them down this season.
I mean, they scored 30-something points. They allowed 30-something points against the Raiders the first time. And I get it. You say, you should have scored more and the offense could have done X, Y, and Z. Rachel, they had the lead. They had the lead with less than 2 minutes to go.
Yep.
And the defense did give it up. And two huge plays. One, a little pass to Jacobs that if it wasn't for Justin Simmons diving at his feet, that goes in the end zone and wins the game. And then Davante Adams, you have Patrick Surtain to stop their best receiver.
Yep.
Davante Adams, 7 catches, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the game winner.
Yeah. Last time in week 4, was it, when they took on the Raiders, Adams only had 101 yards, so 141 today.
Oh, I mean, that's 13 targets, 7 catches, $141, average 20.1, game-winning walk-off.
Average 20.1.
Average 20.1 per catch. No, he owned them. And, I hate to be a pat on the back, told you so, but the whole, we got to stop Josh Jacobs. I mean, who cares? 24 carries, 109 yards. You got to stop him from throwing the ball. And we knew, unlike the Titans, that's what the Raiders do.
Yep.
They throw the ball. And Evero's defense did not do what they needed to do today.
Is this what we learned about this Broncos defense, is that they play to the level of their opponent?
I don't know what to say. I'm disappointed by the defense. The offense, I mean, what are we expecting?
Yeah.
They
start off really hot, score on the first drive.
I feel a little smart because my final prediction was 23-22, and I was but for the Broncos.
Yeah.
Listen, this is brutal.
Is this the most embarrassing loss the Broncos have had?
No. The Colts loss.
You're going against your biggest rival.
Oh, it's a bad loss.
The Las Vegas Raiders.
A bad loss. You asked me the most embarrassing. It's a bad
Which
loss.
one tops this?
Well, the Colts overtime loss, or the Colts
really?
loss. Oh,
compared to this, a wide open Davante Adams?
Oh, well, what degrees of embarrassment are we talking about here?
I'm actually curious. Please let us know in the comments for
you,
what's the worst loss? Because to
it's
me,
bad though. It's awful. You're right. All right, fine.
this is the most embarrassing loss for this
should
Bronco, and it doesn't.
I should calm down. The Raiders were 2-7. They were absolutely on the ropes. They had lost 3 games in a row, and you were beating them with less than 2 minutes to go. You had to freaking win this game because now I don't know if the Broncos win another game all year.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't win this game, Rach. Yeah, that's terrible.
Okay,
terrible.
Here's the win probability: 87%. I'm assuming this was coming in to overtime. That's my guess. 87%. Wow.
Yeah, no,
and
it's brutal.
It's
brutal.
You fumble it.
I mean, the Chargers, the Raiders had to drive the ball all the way down the field for the field goal to tie it. They had to drive the entire field to score. I mean, they just ran down the field, down the Broncos' defense throat twice.
I just don't understand how Davante Adams can get so open. He's the best player out on that football field. Look at how D-Mac.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me on this?
If you go back another 2 seconds, you'll see that Surtain. If we want to go back, we looking at right here.
Yeah,
that's Surtain, and Surtain bites. So that's 2 Surtain, and he bites. Watch it again. If we're doing it again, Surtain's there in the middle. He bites one way, and Adams goes the other.
Again,
and I don't know. I don't know if he's supposed to that's an interesting diagram there. But who's he passing him off to?
Yeah.
But you could say, well, all right, you could say the safety didn't cover.
Justin Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, either Surtain just got totally fooled, or they're playing some sort of zone where the safety should have covered that area, and Surtain was doing his job. We'll talk to football experts. I'm sure it wasn't Surtain's fault. So I'm sure it wasn't.
Don't get me started on that today.
So, but Rachel, again, the value of a cornerback. This is the game that you've got to shut down the big guy, and the big guy 7 for 141 with 2 touchdowns. Carr had a great game.
Carr played well.
22 of 37, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, only 1 sack.
Yeah.
And Russ wasn't bad.
No.
Russ was okay. It's that he just couldn't pull off anything heroic. 24 of 31 for 247. Good quarterback rating. He got sacked 3 times because he can't move. He can't get away. He can't make something happen when you really need it.
And that offensive line is still struggling.
Rachel, should Melvin Gordon even be on the team?
Okay, that's a whole nother discussion. Real quick, I do want to look over here at penalties too. I think this is the first time that the Broncos have had less penalties than their opponents.
Yeah, they were okay. The Raiders actually killed themselves with 9 penalties for 98 yards. The Broncos 5 penalties, 45 yards. I mean, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's not make or break. It's the Raiders doing Raider things, which was one of the reasons the Broncos had the lead with less than 2 minutes to go.
Do you remember, though, we were talking in the second quarter, about the time of possession? Look what it ended up being, 32 minutes to 28 Broncos.
Pretty Raiders 32 to 28.
Yeah.
Pretty even, though, at the end of the day. And
but compared to...
Yeah. It started off crazily slanting towards the Raiders. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. But, again, we got to talk about the major one, Melvin Gordon. I don't know what's happening. The Broncos could have easily won this game if they had scored a touchdown where he fumbled. And
the end of the first half was such a disaster.
It's just...
I mean, you're about to score a touchdown. Yeah. You're right there, and you're going to get the ball to start the second half. So it is the absolute optimal situation. And we get another Melvin Gordon fumble. Now, Chase Edmonds got hurt and didn't play the vast majority of the game. So
we will keep everybody up to date on him, denverfan.com. Stay tuned because, you have to play Melvin. They're so used to running back by committee that you really don't have a choice with Chase Edmonds out.
Yeah, you only had 2 backs. But you know what? Let me just look at something really quick. Do you have to play him? The Raiders played Josh Jacobs. He was the only running back to carry.
But
the only one to carry it all was Josh Jacobs. So maybe you don't actually have to use him.
But for the Broncos, they don't know any differently because for the past couple of seasons, they've done that. This entire season, they've been rotating a back. So really, can you go in there and completely just change the game plan and say, no, we're going to stick with one?
You're right. That's a fair point.
They
got to stick with. You can't just throw it all away. You don't know how to do something differently.
Yep.
So you screw up that. And are they unbelievably lucky to have Quinn Miners hustle and fall on it? Then Max Crosby, who had one of the most unbelievable
Yep.
games ever for a defensive player, blocks Brandon McManus's short field goal attempt. And that's how it ended in the first half. So you had all this momentum. They only had the ball 3 times, and they were doing well. They were doing the right things.
Yes.
And they scored a touchdown on their opening drive. So Clint Kubiak calling the plays. It worked. And then what, Rachel? What?
Then it all fumbled, just like Melvin Gordon's fumble. We bring in James Marilat. James, can you tell us what Hackett had to say?
Well, the most interesting part of it, he threw Russell Wilson under the bus. So they come out of the 2-minute warning. He was asked 2 different times, what's the thought process there? And he repeatedly said, hey, we're going to try and take a shot down the field. But if it's not there, take a sack. We have to keep the clock running. We can't throw an incompletion. Look, it was a bad play call going, empty, going 5 wide, going shotgun. You should have been under center and done play action. But it was Russell Wilson who decided, I'm going to throw this thing away, and that saved 40 seconds for the Raiders. Nathaniel Hackett chucked Russell Wilson under the bus today in his press conference. Look, I guess when you're trying to save your job, at that point you're going to do anything, but that was the key takeaway. It was pretty compelling stuff.
James, is this falling on Pat Surtain, Justin Simmons, or is this just falling on the overall scheme of the defense completely?
Well, I mean, look, in the last plays, that's Pat Surtain. I mean, everybody wanted to troll D-Mac throughout the game about Pat Surtain returning punts. Heaven forbid he would have got hurt during the game, because who would have got torched in overtime if he wasn't out there? I mean, it's laughable. That's on Pat Surtain. That's your guy. You have a shutdown corner. Okay, it's overtime. Put him on the best player on the other team and make sure he doesn't beat you. And who beat you for the 35-yard touchdown? It's Davante Adams. So no, I'm putting that on number 2. But the fact of the matter is, they never should have been in this situation. Nathaniel Hackett probably is going to get fired tomorrow. He should get fired tomorrow. There's 2 plays. Why is Melvin Gordon on the field at the end of the first half? I heard you guys talking about it. And why, with 2 minutes left in the game and you're up 3 and the Raiders are out of timeouts, are you in shotgun and throwing the football? If you want to throw it and try and win it, fine, but it's 3rd and 10. It's not 3rd and 4. Hand the ball to Latavius Murray, punt it away with 1:14 to go, and give your defense the best possible chance to hold on to the lead. That's it. That's the 2 plays. That's the 2 moments, and both of those are on Nathaniel Hackett. You're the head coach. That's on you.
James, you can see and hear the emotion in your voice. You can catch James Marilat on with D-Mac and Jake Shapiro tomorrow on Coffee Break. James, as always, thank you so much for tuning in and hanging with us. Oh, gosh.
Okay.
I mean, who do you put it on?
Well, I'd have to look closely as to what the defensive responsibilities were.
Initial?
You got to put it on. Well, you got to put it on you got to put it on the defense, because you know what you have to do as a defense to win this game.
But is this on Everho, or is it on Pat Surtain and Justin Simmons?
I'd have to go back and look. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'd have to go back and actually see who was supposed to do what at what time. In the overtime. And don't forget on that little wheel route or whatever it was, so the running back, that's on a linebacker. Yeah. That's got nothing to do with Surtain or Simmons or the secondary, really. How did Jacobs get loose? I mean, that was an amazing play call. It was just the absolute right thing at the right time. Hey, you want to guess who got a huge feather in their cap tonight? And that's Josh McDaniels.
I know.
I mean,
we saw him leaving the tunnel. Not too much of a celebration.
No, Tom McMahon, the special teams coach, was all fired up.
Yep.
And Davante Adams was fired up. No, Josh was actually...
Derek Carr was also fired up.
Yeah,
yep.
No, Josh was pretty subdued. He was sort of just, kind of professional with it.
You're going to see him coming in here in just a few seconds. You're going to hear a lot of loud cheering, though. And yes, Josh McDaniels will walk in here in just a second. Oh, this is Davante Adams. Excuse me. Here's Davante Adams. Yeah,
you're always happy.
He was talking. He had some words to say, but yeah, my goodness.
No, McDaniels was,
This has to feel good for him. It sucks for Broncos country.
Unbelievable.
But it has to feel good.
I mean, they've been going through a really horrible, rough year.
Yeah.
And he got a nice little revenge moment right here. No doubt.
All
no
right.
doubt about it.
Well, here's the question everybody wants to know in Broncos country.
Yeah.
Is tomorrow firing day?
It is not. The game was, well, we've gone on and on about the defense.
Yeah.
And I don't know, do you put the defense on Hackett? I mean, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not his design. He's not calling the plays. He actually is the head coach, Rachel. As the head coach, he managed things just fine. I mean, you get inconsistent play out of special teams because of talent, and you could say maybe you should make some changes there. You got to, I mean, but the special teams here stinks.
Yeah.
And, you know, you got Montreal Washington right here, biffing a ball that was at his chest on a kickoff that put them in poor position. You have a blocked field goal attempt.
Mm-hmm.
You do have McManus kicking, you know, he kicked well aside from that. I mean, you know, he's got 3 field goals, so he's 3 of 4 for field goals.
Yep.
Nah, this one isn't on Hackett. I'm not even going to say this one was on Russell Wilson.
No, I don't think so either.
This one, Rachel, actually
is on Dwayne Stukes.
well, I mean, the special teams is kind of a disaster. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think here. I think this one is on. Oh man, I hate to say it. The injuries of the Broncos played a price. They just don't have the team that they thought they were going to have, and they can't produce because of it. And Russell Wilson is a good, solid, mediocre quarterback in this league. I'm just going to say everybody says a dip or a decline. I'm going to say it's a dip to a norm, meaning I think he has dipped down to now a very average sort of playing field. I think you have somebody who's probably the 19th, 20th, 21st best quarterback in the NFL. But you can win like that.
Worth $245 million.
No. I mean, the paying of Russell Wilson is an absolute
We could talk about it.
Mistake.
We could have a whole hour show on that.
But you've got to have your defense. I cannot emphasize that enough.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a lead. It's a minute 43. You've got to make a play.
Which is funny because we've been preaching, see Evero, be the head coach, be the interim head coach, see what he can do. And after this one, you're like, well, maybe he's not cut out for it either.
I think Hackett is fine. I think they're going to go with this probably for another month. They had 6,900 no-shows here for their biggest rival. What will be here, Rachel, if they lose the next 3 games, December 19th against the Cardinals? I mean, how many no-shows are going to be there for that one?
A lot, because they literally may not win another game.
And I do wonder if we hear news that they flex the Broncos and Chiefs out of the Sunday
100%. I don't think it's going to be played on Sunday night. I think it's going to probably be a 2:05 kick. Oh, wow. I can't believe this, you guys. I know Broncos country feels the exact same way. D-Mac, I know you do. We obviously saw the reaction. It's just hard to believe that the Broncos offense looked a little bit better. And today the defense is what struggled against a bad Raiders offense.
I cannot believe I am surprised. But I am literally surprised.
I am too.
When we were watching the game together, I just figured, oh, you're going to get a stop. I mean,
we were all joking that there was going to be no winner.
Oh, right.
And then all of a sudden we're like,
right.
Oh, whenever it's over.
I agree. I thought it was more likely they would tie than they would lose. I still can't believe they lost.
Yeah.
And now they turn off the score. Well, they're turning off all the lights.
Yeah, they're like, everybody, please get out of here. We don't need this.
Did we all see that in the background? Yeah,
it's
you did. Good. Yeah.
Okay, well, now they go to take on Carolina, a team that lost an 11 a.m. game, another bad team. I mean, I think Carolina's scored 3 points today. They were tied with the Ravens at 3 for a really long time.
Yeah, but the problem with Carolina is their defense actually played pretty well against the Ravens. Their offense obviously is a mess, and it's a winnable road game because you eventually have to be able to beat somebody.
Yeah,
it's not that hard. The Rams look terrible. You're going to lose to the Chiefs and to the Ravens, and with your 7 loss here, I mean, not that we were holding out any hope, but the best you could do is 10-7 if you wanted to make the playoffs. So one more loss, Rachel, actually literally puts you out of the playoffs.
Yep.
And that's likely coming soon.
Schedule up on there. Carolina, Baltimore, Kansas City, Arizona. The Rams on Christmas Day, Kansas City, and the Chargers. Oof.
Yeah, the Chargers will probably have something to play for. Kansas City will as well. So will the Ravens. So there's 4 rough games there. The Rams are really bad. Carolina's bad, and the Cardinals are kind of all over the place.
Here's the thing, though. Usually you would be like, all right, season's over. Let's try and get a better draft pick. They don't have this draft pick because it's going to the Seahawks for Russell Wilson. So do you try and win more games to limit them from getting a better draft pick?
You try to win to save jobs. You're what you do here as coaches, you're trying to win to save your job, and as a player, you're trying to earn your spot. But then you're going to have some really weird decisions to make at the end of the year. Like, you will want to protect people from injuries that you need. And not only maybe a few people, but one of them may be Russell Wilson. So you really may want to seriously consider later in the season how far you go with them once we get into the final 3 or so games. That's down the road. This is a real disappointment, Rachel, because you were hoping you would see some sort of improvement. And the last part of the team that I thought was going to let the Broncos down tonight was the defense. And they sadly did, which is they find a new way to, and they were up 10-0 again.
Here's the thing is what's crazy is you did see some improvement. The first drive, they go down and they scored a touchdown. What happened?
Well, the second drive, they got a field goal. I mean, they were doing all right. The third drive,
but it's the second half that, again, this team just cannot figure it out in the second. What are they doing in the locker room? Why is no communication being had that's resulting in changes? Or is the opponent just doing such a good job of figuring out what this team's going to do?
It is just so stunning that it's difficult to score freaking touchdowns. It just seems so bizarre to me that it's this difficult for this team. So there are a couple of elements. There's the ongoing problems with the offense. Okay, that continues. There was just a scotch of improvement with Clint Kubiak over Hackett. But what happened defensively, man? I mean, what are we doing here?
My other question is, who will do play calls against Carolina?
Oh, they have to stick with this system for a month. They do. They have to give this an absolute chance for a month.
But as stubborn as it feels like Hackett's been, you don't think he's like, I can do that?
He doesn't have a choice now. You can't put that toothpaste back in the next step for Hackett is to be fired.
You can't put toothpaste back in the tube?
That's right. You said it better than me. Mark Schlereth.
If only we could get him on.
The Colts won again, right?
Yeah.
The Colts beat the Eagles. So Jeff Sunday, as Zach Bye would say, has now won 2 games in a row.
Wait, did they?
Well,
I didn't see the final.
Did they lose? Oh, I see.
Wait,
I'm a mile long.
Yeah, we need to.
Did they lose?
I didn't see that final.
No, I'm probably wrong because I said it won. No, the Eagles won.
By
the
1
Eagles
point.
Won. Sorry.
Yeah. I was like, wait.
The Eagles won by 1. It was a good close game. The Colts only
and the
scored
Eagles,
16
one of the
points,
best teams in the league, obviously. So.
All right. I got to calm down a little bit. I don't know. It's disappointing.
Yes.
I cannot even imagine what people are saying out there. It's rough.
It's rough. Yeah, Broncos country, that's a tough one to swallow. But don't worry, we will keep you up to date at denverfan.com with everything you need to know what's going on with this team. Jake Shapiro, D-Mac, James Marilat, they're going to be on coffee break tomorrow morning for you, breaking down this game even more.
There is a big question.
Oh, no.
How puffy is that jacket?
It's pretty puffy.
I mean, I'm just going to give you the moment right here.
Thank you. But I'm staying warm, everybody. The top half's warm. My feet, though, they're a little chilly. It's kind of cold out here, but we're puffy. We're doing better than D-Mac is. He's freezing. I know his hands are cold.
Okay. Are we done with this thing?
Yep. I guess we have one last question.
Oh.
Has Russell Wilson talked yet?
Oh, God. I have no idea. He actually played all right. Yeah.
He is known for dragging it out a little bit, so it's a good question.
Well, we'll go check. I'm not really down on Russell Wilson. He didn't, no turnovers. Got sacked 3 times. They were under center a bunch.
Yeah.
They were committed to running the ball. You know what? Let me look at that really
Actually,
quick.
you know what? Clint Kubiak did a better job than Nathaniel Hackett did. This offense looked like it was able to move. They were able to score some field goals.
All right, let's just see.
I like
really,
it.
Really
I like
quick.
it better.
So the Broncos, Rachel, they ran it 28 times. They threw it 31 times. It was even. They tried. Russ was 24 of 31 for 226. That's spectacular. No touchdowns, no interceptions, sacked 3 times, quarterback rating of 99.8, which is okay. It's just a very solid, it's okay.
Yes.
They ran the ball, they were committed to the run. They never stopped running the ball. He was under center plenty.
Yep.
There all these other things that we have said, they actually did. And it still didn't work.
It still didn't work.
Cortland Sutton had a decent game, 5 catches for 80 yards. Melvin Gordon, 5 catches for 39. I don't know, Rach. I mean, they were lacking the receivers. See, that is the problem. You have no downfield attack. You have no Jerry Jeudy. You have no KJ Hamler.
Cortland Sutton has had 5 games with consecutive drop passes.
You got
That's
that.
tough.
That happens. See, he's a really good receiver, but there's no like breakaway explosiveness. So he makes catches on challenge balls, but he doesn't create a ton of separation.
Yeah.
It's not just like a moment where Davante Adams could plant his foot and go and you freak out a little bit because you got to turn your hips. You can stay with Cortland Sutton, and they do. So, Brandon Johnson, who is a rookie who made his first appearance for the Broncos, actually made a pretty amazing catch in the end zone.
Would have been a touchdown.
He was out of bounds. Yeah, he was just a foot out of bounds, and it's one of these almost touchdowns, this almost wins.
It's just killing this team.
It's been an almost season for the Broncos.
If you're in this locker room right now, you're obviously upset, but are you dividing even more, or is it one of those wins
not
where
today. The defense blew it. What are they going to brag about? Are you going to be mad? You going to be mad, bro? I mean, no. I mean, you blew it, defense. I mean, I don't think the offense is going to have swagger, but I mean, nobody's going to be pointing fingers except to yourself.
Yeah. A tough game, Broncos country. Sorry, 22-16, the Broncos.
Do you think Hackett should keep his job?
I think eventually you're going to get rid of him. So, but at the same time, I'm not like, oh, Evero, send him in there. I think he's going to do a great job. I mean, this is your biggest rival all year. That and the Chiefs, in my personal opinion, and something like this happens with such broken coverage. I'm shocked it came out of Evero's defensive plan, but
I mean, what do you want to see moving forward?
I mean, realistically, I don't know really what you can do. That's kind of the bummer, is because it's the injuries that Hackett can bring and say, look at my team, it's depleted. I have no one. You can't judge me based on me going with like the third string. Melvin Gordon should be cut from this team. They can't afford it because of another injury to Chase Edmonds. Special teams, actually. Montreal Washington, something's got to happen. And then Corliss Waitman. That's really kind of the starters that are struggling. And you hear Dwayne Stukes week after week after week say, we're working on it. You know, it's me having to talk to these guys and continue to have talks. Well, to be honest, it looks to me like they're playing scared football, and scared football doesn't win games.
Well, if the coaches want to ask me any questions, I'm happy to respond as I did this
Pat
week.
Surtain might be going in,
Sure.
everybody.
I mean, we'll figure something out.
Hey, he got busted on coverage, so...
Maybe. It looks like that. It does look like that.
Davante Adams won the matchup against Pat Surtain, and I know he wasn't on him every single day, but Adams won the matchup.
No, you see what they did too, and this is the issue about having a shutdown corner. Teams will just adjust to stay away from you. Yeah. So shutdown corners tend to play on the outside. They don't play in the slot. So what they simply did with Davante Adams is they just lined him up in the slot over and over and over again. It was just like it was too easy just to take him away. So what the Broncos did at the end there, they were playing a zone. So even if you start in the slot, you're eventually going to go somewhere.
Yep.
But when you play in a zone, you do allow open space if you guys don't cover the zone the right way. And
against one of the best wide receivers in the league.
The way that you have to have a zone defense like that, you have to have great pass rush. And the Broncos right now just have kind of okay pass rush.
Yep.
And so when Carr has time, you're in a zone, you know, you dodge left and go right if you're covering a zone and you just go dip the other way. Well, we saw what happened. So the Broncos, they can't answer it because they can't just stick Surtain every single spot with Davante Adams or the best receiver. I mean, sometimes if they both line up on the outside rather, but if you take your best receiver and put him in the slot, I mean, Surtain's not a slot corner. He's a shutdown outside corner. So that's what teams will do, and all the teams will watch this tape, which means that the Broncos really have to find another great corner, which you typically do in free agency. And that's where you get corners for the most part, where you try to do the best you can with corners in the second round or third round. Listen, this is not an easy fix, okay? This is complicated beyond complicated.
Yeah.
And it would have been great for Russ, who had the ball in his hand, to lead them to a touchdown drive in the last 4 minutes, and he couldn't do that either. But you had the lead, Rachel. You had the lead, and you only had to stop them or limit to them to a field goal to get the ball back. By the way, overtime rules in the NFL, absolutely freaking awful. Horrible that the offense doesn't get a shot. Brutally bad. It always has been.
Let's pretend that they did. Do you trust Russ in this offense to be able to go down there and score a touchdown?
I trust him to get like in a field goal range.
No, they have to score a touchdown, though. The Raiders scored a touchdown.
Well, you got to score a touchdown on your first possession. So I think that's, to a certain degree, the advantage the Broncos may have thought they had. Meaning, if we stop the Raiders, all we have to do is get a field goal.
Yeah.
It's a dumb rule. The NFL overtime rule is idiotic, and they're changing it in the playoffs. And why they changed in the playoffs and not the regular season, and the fact that this could have ended in a tie is another dumb thing. But, who accused the NFL of being smart on certain things?
22-16, the Broncos fall to their rival, the Las Vegas Raiders. An ugly one here. Might have been the most embarrassing loss for this Broncos team. We'll leave that up for debate. All right, DMAC, as always, appreciate your time. And to everybody else, thank you so much for hanging out with us here on Postgame Live. Again, Jake Shapiro, DMAC, James Merlot, they will continue to break down the game. I know he's going to go home and watch this game again, even though it's ugly. So make sure you tune back in for their analysis, and we will see you guys all later. Bye, everybody.